All right, welcome back to another episode of Living Off an Income Portfolio. For those of you who joined for the first time, this is a series where I record myself during my early retirement, drawing down for my income portfolio. So, me and my wife, we took a plunge of retiring early about 2 years ago, and at the time, we tried to look for resources of people who have done retirement early based on an income portfolio. We couldn't find a lot of good examples, so I thought that since I'm deciding to do the plunge myself, I would record this as a piece of data for in case anyone that planning to do the same can use it as like a reference point. Again, this is a very small sample size based on a very limited time, so just take it with a grain of salt and just for entertainment purposes only. So this is a series where I record all the withdrawal and everything like that, and I compares it with a lot of popular ETF like VFV, S&P 500, XQQ, which is the Nasdaq, and also HYLD and XEQT, which is a very popular portfolio. So without further ado, just want to wish everyone a happy new year, and let's get into the data. All right, let me just switch here. Okay, so this is our main portfolio. So this is me and my wife portfolio that we draw down and withdraw from. And then, so the January we are sitting at 1.144905. In the beginning of 2 years ago, when we first retired, we starting at about $870,000, and then over the 2 years, despite the withdrawal, it grew to 1.14 million. The withdrawal are ranging between 5 to 6%. It's been going up a little bit because of the living expense portion, which we usually draw down the interest, the distribution from, has increased the distribution a little bit. So this month we are withdrawing 4.7K from it. So this is a portfolio right now. If you follow from the series consistently, we know that we had BMR and Hood last time that we got assigned from selling put, and then we've been selling cover call on them. I decided to sell out of them due to tax loss harvesting because they took quite a big dip toward the end of the year, and I thought that I don't know how they're gonna go this year. So I thought that I do have a lot of capital gain from exiting some preferred share last year, so I thought that I would take this loss and then reduce tax from it. So that's why we outed these two completely. BMNR is a little bit of a wild card because I sold put on them based on the high volatility because the premium is really good. But business wise, I'm not as confident in it. Hood, on the other hand, I think the business is good for long term, so I wouldn't mind, try to sell put on them again and then going forward. The price of Hood been dropping quite a bit, so I would probably look to reopen the sell put position on this again. Um, I Based on last year, funny enough, the best performing asset on the portfolio is actually these preferred shares over here, which is technically a fixed income and a debt instrument. I think these ones are 5-year reset, so basically they're based heavily on the short-term interest rate, which is trending down. So these ones appreciate quite a bit. I think they appreciate about 33% for 1 year period during the 2025, and then distribution is about 7 to 10%. So these are actually the breadwinner for last year for sure. The rest performed quite well. CWT, we did have a pretty good entry on it, so they're quite good. Um, this year, I don't plan to change too much of the portfolio. However, I do have one thing that I really want to change is the YMAG. We have a pretty heavy position on the YMAG right now. So for those who are not aware, YMAG is basically a purpose ETF income based on supposed to be based on the top 8 tech company in the US, and then they sell cover call it with a 25% leverage. The distribution is quite high. They recently raised the distribution to 0.3 cents, 0.30 cents per month, which is leading up to about close to 20% or something like that for the year. So I really like this ETF. It actually was one of my favorite. So why am I selling out of it? Partially is because originally this was supposed to be top 8 market cap weight US tech with cover call layout, but recently they changed it to equal weight, and then they add a bunch of things in there. And then from business standpoint, I do understand why they do the change because to be honest, they haven't really grown the fund too much because the AUM is only 11.7 million. The fund been out for 1 year. It doesn't have the same success as a lot of popular fund like HHIS, which has been a great success for Harvest. So I can see that they try to mimic HHIS and try to become like them. However, so the change been out for 2 months, they still haven't really changed the purpose of this fund. The purpose of this fund was originally to become a top 8 tech company. It even says in the name, and now they did a 180 to become something else. Just for reference, this is how it looks right now, and this is how it looked before. I did a Wayback Machine to show you. So they used to be a market cap weight top tech company. This is what I invest in. It's supposed to be something like this, and now it's like this. So I'm not saying the change is good or bad. It's just not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to invest in Coinbase. I don't really care for them, and I mean, I don't. I'm not against Coinbase. I just want to have my own allocation if I want to. I don't want to have this market cap weight. Sorry, I don't want to have this equal weight style like HHIS. If we want this, I would just buy HHIS. I feel like YMAG change kind of lose its charm just from this change alone. I did wrote email to YMAG team just to kind of express my frustration in a professional way, of course. And of course, I don't expect anything to happen, but they did reply to me in a very PR PR email that oh, this is what the best for you, whatever. So I'm not really gonna go into it, but I just I was really frustrated with the change, so I decided to write them an email. And of course, I didn't expect anything out of it, and nothing came out of it. So I probably gonna look to exit the YMAX position, which I have a total about 175,000. So probably gonna look to change. I'm thinking gonna might change it to QQQY by Evolve, which is actually have a pretty good have a pretty good performance despite no leverage. However, the fee is a little bit high for a no leverage fund. This one is market cap weight tech company, a little bit more diversified in tech. I know that they have Coinbase and stuff, but overall, I feel it's a lot more diversified. The only gripe I have with this one is that they do have a pretty high MER, which is what sitting at 106, including the trading expense ratio. So they do trade pretty actively. But the performance been pretty good, so I'm looking to transfer into this one. But I'm still playing around with it, so that's pending. Um, yeah, so that's basically the main portfolio. Now let's take a look at the hypothetical portfolio. So basically, what these are, it's when I retire, I do the same amount into different portfolio, like hypothetical portfolio, just to compare how my retirement would have been if I were to go a different route instead, like the popular VFV route. If I just go 100% VFV and do the same withdrawal period, how would it look like? So this is what it look like. The VFV right now is at 1.056 million. It's definitely grown quite a bit as well. So we're starting off in the beginning of, I start tracking in November of 24. We have 6172 shares, and every month we sell the same amount as the withdrawal from the main portfolio, and then we track everything. So far we have sold 304 shares since the beginning of the tracking. However, the portfolio balance did went up. So VFV has been doing really well, growing up consistently. Let's take a look at XEQT. XEQT, for those who hope you're not aware, this is actually quite a popular fund. It's basically a global diversified ETF, like all in one. Basically you buy this one, you have a exposure to US, to the world, and then to Canada as well, which is a little bit heavier on Canada because it's a Canadian ETF. XEQT is definitely grown quite a lot in the past 2 years, definitely outperformed VFV by quite a good margin. So XEQT a little bit tricky because they do pay quarterly dividend, which is fluctuate. So I have to kind of do this a little bit manually. You can see a lot of time we do sell shares, a lot of time we do have to buy share back because we have excess in dividends. So XEQT since the beginning we sold 897 shares. Let's look at HYLD next. HYLD is Hamilton all-in-one US cover call with the 25% leverage. This is basically, it's kind of like a VFV, but with 25% margin and then run a cover call layer on top. HYLD do pay quite a bit of dividend. I think they're paying about 10 to 12%. So every month we actually have to buy shares back. So since the beginning we did buy about 4.9k shares on top of what we started with. HYLD is actually sitting at 1.077, outperforming VFV by quite a good margin. Originally, when I first started this experiment 2 years ago, year and a half, 2 years ago, I did assume that HYLD would be the worst performing, just because we all know that cover call capped the upside, and then HYLD, of course, is gonna be in cap in the comparing to like a peer growth. It might lag behind, but so far it's doing better. But again, keep in mind that this is a very short time span, only being like a year and a half to 2 years, so anything could happen in the long run. HYLD does charge a lot more fee compared to VFV, which is 0.06% fee. I think HYLD compared with our underlying with the margin is probably going to be sitting about 2%, which is quite hefty to be honest. Next is the one that we add in recently. It's QQC, which is basically a NASDAQ. It's a very tech. Sorry, my headphone just randomly died. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so now we take a look at the XQC, which is sorry, my headphone just randomly died, so I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit. So now it's the QQC, which is we recently added this in. It's the Nasdaq 100 ETF, which is considered pretty tech heavy and a little bit more concentrated in VFV. Again, usually they have a way higher growth than VFV, but of course a lot come with a lot more higher volatilities as well. So QQC we added in recently. So far has been a pretty good growth. Funny enough, despite very tech heavy and then strong tech growth in the past 2 years, XEQT actually outperformed QQC. QQC was actually outperforming XEQT most of the time until the recent month where XEQT actually passed QQC. So far we since the beginning I have to backtrack this one, so there might be small mistake. But usually when there's a small mistake, I try to round it up in favor of the ETF just to try to compensate. I'm not sure if that makes sense. So far we have sold and bought, so total of 1407 shares. Again, QQC have a quarterly dividend, so sometimes it's a little bit messy. Okay, so now let's take a look at the side-by-side comparison information from the beginning. So I start tracking in November. We did retire, early in 20, like a mid 2024 with a smaller portfolio, but I start tracking seriously on November 19. So the starting profit at 932, I did the same across all portfolio, my main portfolio and the four hypothetical portfolio. So this is the starting amount, and I have the withdrawal amount here. Every month, this is the amount that we withdraw, and then this is a cash holding that I added in recently. As you can see, everything kind of grow consistently, and you can see the big dip over here during the Liberation Day in April. Everything dropped pretty hard. XUT actually dropped the least because it does have more diversified portfolio, not really US concentrated. So you can see the benefit of that. It actually dropped a lot less than any other ETF. So you can see that QQC usually, because of tech heavy, they do beat out XQT most of the time until recently, where XQT actually kind of edge out and beat XQT a little bit. This data I just recorded that on the 113, so when this video comes out, the number might change a little bit, as you can see from the other tab over here. So far, our main portfolio is doing quite well compared to the rest. Definitely doing well due to the good fixed income outperformance recently. So I did make a new graph here with that showing a little cash balance here. The cash balance dipped over here because we did use the cash to buy into the dip. And of course, when I buy into the dip, I did the same for every portfolio as well to try to keep the data as consistent as possible. And then on the bottom layer here is how much I withdraw each month. And then as you can see, after the big dip, we try to build up the emergency fund back up. So far, we had about 17K, which is still lower than I hope. So generally, I want 6 months to a year of expense reserve. Okay, so that's the data. Um, so this is the total stat for the year. I haven't fixed the year-to-date left yet because I wanted to make this video out first, and then I try to fix it later. So for 2025, we withdraw a total of about $49,000. Total return of 2025 is 16.63. That is with the withdrawal taken out. And then if we include the withdrawal, the return is 21%, which we beat S&P 500 and Nasdaq by a little bit, which is a good accomplishment. It's not something that I think that we can do every year, but so far it's been good. I attribute this into a good positioning on the fixed income that performed really well, and also a very tech-heavy portfolio. Of course, but these also come with risk, right? With the fixed income, you are very subject to change in interest rate. So random, if the inflation reading comes really bad, the expectation of rate increase is gonna spike, which is gonna make the fixed income really, really volatile. And also, of course, tech is very volatile as well. So this is a 2025 goal that we did. We booked to 12 out of 12. We did about 8, which is, it's pretty okay, I think. I do want to read more, but I find that putting a goal on reading kind of kills the joy of reading a little bit. So I'm a little iffy about this one. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this goal up. We'll do see. Trying a new restaurant. Me and my wife like to eat, but we like to eat the same thing over and over again. So we had to try to force ourselves to try something new. So far, this last year we did quite well. We did try 11 new restaurant. We had a friend visit, so that helped a lot. Duolingo. We killed this goal, so I stopped tracking. I was trying to do 250 day out of like the whole year, and we basically did like pretty much every day, so that was good. Cooking new dishes. This is one of the joy that I found after retiring. Is I like cooking. It's actually pretty fun. Like I'm not saying that I'm good at cooking, but I just enjoy the process of it. It's pretty fun. I cook my wife clean. Kind of works out. And then so far she likes it. Or she said she likes it, so we'll see. So far it's good. Refilling emergency fund. This is the long goal process. We try to get up to 25 to 30K. Again, to try to keep it because we don't have any income coming anymore. It's good. It's important to keep some cash reserve in case emergency happen. We do live at home now, so our expense is very flexible. So that's why I'm not too fuzzy about it. But we're definitely trying to build this up to probably about more like 30K. Rewatching Commanding Heights, we didn't we didn't do any of this at all. This is basically like a old economic documentary from like the old school one. It's very very good watch. If you haven't seen it, I'd really really recommend it. eBay listing. Over the Christmas time, we did have a lot of sales on eBay. So basically, I used to work in the retail store, and I do accumulate a lot of stuff that from the store that I don't really wear anymore because of all the suits, all the bags and stuff. So I'm trying to like clear them out a little bit, slowly sell them off, try to get some cash in, and then this is gonna be an ongoing goal for sure. So for 2026 goal, eBay listing, definitely gonna be part of them. Gonna hopefully try to finish it all. And then of course emergency fund is gonna be a big goal. So probably gonna try to get to 30,000. Oops. It's gonna be a long goal that we hope to get closer this year. Okay, so I'm not really gonna put commanding heights in there. I think if you're gonna watch it, I'll watch it, but I'm not gonna put it as a goal. And then continue Duolingo for sure. So far, I've been doing the Mandarin class and chess class. Just gonna keep going. I'm not really gonna say the day because I'm not too sure. So far, it's kind of become a habit to do it every day now. So I'm just gonna hope to keep that habit going. Um, I want to read more books, but I don't want to put reading books in there because I don't want to put a number on it because like I said, it does take joy out of it when you feel like you have to read it out of it. So we'll leave it at that for now. So this is a work in progress. So we will keep adding to this as time progresses. All right, so I guess that's the update. Life stuff, I've been really busy. I think if you watched before, you probably know that my mom is going through some cancer, all the chemo appointments and stuff like that. So basically every month there's a lot of appointment that we have to go with her. I'm really grateful that we're in position where we can be there for her all the time whenever she needs. So yeah, so my mom is she's a hard worker. She's super healthy, and then she worked her whole life, and then right before she retired, she found out she has cancer. So it's kind of a reminder that you can't take anything for granted, right? You work hard, you eat super healthy, you do everything right, but something can still go wrong. Again, it's the resounding message that I say in every video is that you have to live your life along the way. You can't just be like, I'm gonna sacrifice everything and just to get to my goal, and I'll live my life then, because you never know what's gonna happen. you know. Sorry, I don't mean to be so the doom and gloom and stuff, but it's good to enjoy your life, enjoy the progress, enjoy the journey. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope everyone has a good 2026, and then we'll see you next month. See ya.